Yes, people. Yes, people. Welcome back to BNR. Feels like we've not even gone away because 1 hour 52, I think it was last night. It was a proper show. We missed the chip. I do tease him on and off camera, but it's never the same without him. But he is with us and he's showing commitment tonight. He showed commitment to the buddy yesterday, to the missus, if you don't understand what buddy means. And he's showing us commitment as ever by going and traveling down to work, but in the chat. And there's plenty to discuss, If you're here, well, we put it in the title, haven't we? If you're here for the Alonso chat, we're here for the Alonso chat. But let's leave the Alonso chat till later and maybe tonight as well when Ben and Jean are back on, or maybe when Avi's back on as well, because it's the bigger picture, it's the short term, it's the long term, it's the contract talk for slot. But let's say hello to my brother. I don't call him friend, I call him brother. Avi, what's going on? You're driving to work, but a lot of news, and we're about 7-8 minutes away from the team news today as well. We'll discuss what the rumored lineup is. But how are you, my brother? You okay?
Very good, Asim. Very good. The weather's quite bright. Actually, the blue skies are out, the sun's out. So in good mood. Yesterday I had to miss the show. It was the chips. It was the chip's birthday yesterday, so I was out celebrating, a little lunch and stuff.
Lunch, yeah.
The business. But yeah, otherwise good. And look, I think the Alonso news is huge, Asim, if I may say so. I think it will have some kind of bearing of what we do in the summer. But onto the team news first and foremost. So I'll let you tell us the rumored lineup.
Rumored lineup, Avi, is as follows. Mamadashvili in net, Frimpong right back, Gomez and Verge, the centre back pairing, with Robertson completing the back four. And then the midfield is Maka and Jones in a double pivot, if you like, and Szoboszlai in a number 10. And at the front three is Federico Chiesa, Rio on the left, and Gakpo down the middle. So that's Mamadashvili, Frimpong, Gomez, Verge, Robo, Maka, Jones, and Slob, which would mean Gravenberg gets a rest. Then Chiesa, Rio, and Gakpo. Your instant thoughts, and I would expect Ekatike to be on the bench then. But your instant reaction to the rumored lineup, Avi?
Asim, I like it. Look, it's a blend of players who feel as if they deserve more of a chance. Fans certainly think that Chiesa and Rio should be starting in the last couple of months and definitely deserve a chance. So it will be nice to see them having more than a runner. I think, look, games like this against Barnsley, whatnot, Asim, you really need to cement, or you really need to put in a performance. We saw Chiesa, Elliott, the likes of a couple of others last season against Plymouth away. They didn't really come out of that game with any sort of, what can you say, with any kind of credit. We did lose that game. I mean, Harvey Elliott conceding that penalty.
Yeah.
But Chiesa, I think, Slot had kind of made his mind up after that game, wasn't it? That, look, he's nowhere near the first team. But look, it's nice. I like Robbo coming in for Kirkes, Frimpong in his natural position, you could say, maybe. And he's been very good. Frimpong, we've got to give him credit for the last 3 games. He's come, he's affected play, he's caused problems, he's created, I think, our last 3 goals that we've scored. And, Mamadashvili gets a run out. I think for a goalkeeper, it's imperative that he gets, regular football, but it's hard with Ali. And Jones back in, a player who they said had a little bit of a niggle on the weekend. He comes back in, or last week, shall I say. And Mac, who we saw put in a very good performance against Arsenal, gets another starting berth. And Szoboszlai in that 10-8 role. I like it, Asim. And, we should really dispose of Barnsley. We should really put in a performance tonight and cement our place into the 4th round.
I want to ask you about Rio, Avi. The manager, as you touched on, was talking about Rio in the presser. He's been talking about how much he has to protect him because the fractures amongst the youngsters over the years in Bajatic and a few others as well. Dan's, of course. And he also mentioned that we feel, and he goes, what I'm told, these guys have been overtrained. And by the sounds of it, they're trying to give him 2 days off a week as well, extra, just to make sure manage the workload on him. What do you think? And this is the reason why I thought the links and the narrative and the rumors were, for me, in my opinion, don't want to shit on anyone's news, but I didn't believe it, because I think, look, at the end of the day, Liverpool are champions. We youngsters get a chance, generally speaking, not just before the season started. Maybe you can argue when Liverpool started doing shit, some youngsters could have got a bit extra chance. But the fact of the matter is we lost to Palace because we played a load of youngsters and it was really inexperienced. We had to play a five at the back because you had to protect them, not just off the field, but on the field as well. But in terms of game time, that cost us because we went out. But in leagues and when the manager's job is on the line, I mean, it's very, very hard. And I just didn't believe the fact that he just totally, completely ruled out Rio as a talent. He didn't believe in him. He didn't trust him. You could argue in terms of the trust in Endo and the trust in Chiesa, but in someone like Rio, I think they do rate him. But at the end of the day, he's just not ready.
I think that's what it is. Look, we know with youngsters, even look, Asim Lamine Yamal, yeah, arguably the best youngster in world football right now, bar none, right, has had his groin issues. Pedri, who played like 72 games, ridiculous games, plays in the Euros, goes to the Olympics with the Spain team a couple of seasons back, and he was out with an ACL. It was because
Yeah.
of overtraining. Gavi, had an ACL and breaks down again, and he's been ruled out again for the rest of the season by overplaying him. It happens Kubasi this season at Barcelona, and I'm only concentrating on Barca youngsters because I do have an eye on like their academy and what they do. But Pau Kubasi has played a hell of a lot of football for an 18-year-old. And with Rio, I think we could have given him more chances, Asim. The
Okay.
timing of it could have been well off. I mean, you don't want to bring in a youngster when you're in a rut. And Liverpool was certainly in a rut between September to November, where we lost 9 out of 12 games. When is it the best? When is the best place or
Yeah.
best situation to bring a youngster in? It's usually when you're winning. I think Klopp was really, really good at that. He would give all the youngsters a chance. Or when we had loads of injuries, like that Carling Cup
Oh
final
God.
game against Chelsea, where he had to display his youngsters upon youngsters in that final in particular. So look, Rio definitely deserved a few more chances, but I totally understand. And these not me being a kiss ass or for honest. So I totally understand the club's stance of protecting and safeguarding the youngsters because look, we've seen it with Bradley. He's a young chap, and look, he's getting injuries right, left, and center. And look, he's been ruled out again. Bajacic, a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Is it the intensity in training under Jurgen that these players are picking up injuries? Bajacic hasn't recovered from the hamstring injury and has had another setback. Jaden Dan's stress fractures and whatnot. He's been out. He's been missing a year, a year worth of good football. Had a loan spell to Southampton or Sunderland last season. It didn't work out. Got injured there. So look, you have to
Do, do,
safeguard
do,
youngsters.
do you rate Dan's, by the way?
Asma, I think he's a terrific finisher. I really
Okay.
do believe he's got a finish on him. I think he can be a link-up player. I think he's got a fair amount of pace. He's not electric by any stretch of the imagination, but he's definitely
Abby,
quick.
the
Yeah,
team has been confirmed, and that is the team. That is the team. Gomez, Van Dijk, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Chiesa, Jones, Gakpo, Robertson, Frimpong, and Rio. And then Allison, Endo, Kanate, Kirkes, Verts, Ekatike, Gravenberg, Nayoni, and Ramsey complete the bench. So it's a bit of a mix in the first line team, Avi, but it's a really strong bench.
it's a strong bench. And look, as if we get a couple of early goals, and I know it's wishful thinking, and no FA Cup tie really, especially the weekend that we've had with Macclesfield going through, and stories emanating from each tie in the FA Cup. Newcastle again with a late winner, well, went to penalties, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's wishful thinking to think that will be in a comfortable 3-0 lead before half time, then you can ring some changes, get Ekitike some game time and whatnot. But all I want to see is Asma performance at home, and I want us to go through to the fourth round. I do want a good FA Cup run. And look, let's be honest, it looks as though the league is now out of question. It looks as though City and Arsenal will be vying for that title. So look, we've got two real competitions where we can really have a good go. I think we'll go far in the Champions League. You know, I'll go as far as saying I believe still today we will be in Budapest, but a nice FA Cup run is always good, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Talking of the FA Cup, Avi, we've got Barnsley tonight. And if we win today, we've got another home leg tie to Brighton.
It's a good draw, isn't it? I mean,
Did you
Brighton
know
played
that?
a
I didn't
second
even.
string.
Where are the days gone when the draw is after the game?
That's the novelty. Novelty pulled down now with these competitions. You got
Honestly, man.
Carabao Cup, you got Carabao Cup draws taking place in Mars, and you got FA Cup draws taking place midday or whatnot in random hours by random people now as well, isn't it? It's random people that do the draws now. So the novelty has worn off. But look, the magic of the FA Cup, that
Yeah.
word magic. The weekend should have told
Yo,
you that there still are like the low minnow clubs that are still getting the better of top opposition.
Avi, I don't even know if the show exists. It used to be on the one show or something like that. It was like an evening show where they were sat on the sofa and they used to do the FA Cup draw, like part of the one show. Like, what the hell,
Yeah,
man?
it's random now, isn't it? Jermaine Genius or someone with the co-host doing the draws. Look, the novelty has worn off, but Asim is still one of the most prestigious cup competitions in world football. You know, we can say that the FA Cup does have its charm. The lower leagues, you always like to see a lower league make a real good run in the FA Cup. You know, back in our days, it was Luton Town with Mike Newell, or it was Laurie Sanchez's Wycombe Wanderers that would get to the semi-final. We knocked them out in that 2001 treble season
Hmm.
run. So, you know, you do always like to see the lower teams having a real good run. And look, yesterday was another result. Look, Brighton with their B team yesterday, pretty much getting the better out of United, Bacclesfield, Newcastle going through. There were some great stories over the weekend.
Let's go to the other big massive story coming from Spain, Avi. Xabi Alonso has been sacked by Real Madrid. It's one big, massive, mad club based in Madrid, isn't it, Avi? Like nothing shocks you in football anymore. But you know, he was one of their favorites. He always is a project. He's done the project at Leverkusen. You thought, you know what? He's a fan favorite. Used to play for him. Oh, he ticked every single. He's smart. He's intelligent. Every single thing. But you just the moment the white towel is thrown in, whether it's a player or the thingy, it doesn't even have to be the fans. It's a changing room dispute. They've just sold you out. The hierarchy, it's just crazy. And someone like Xabi Alonso didn't even get any extra time at a club like Liverpool and not Liverpool, Real Madrid. But Avi, you know what's going to happen now. It's the rumor mill is going to go in overdrive because we're going to talk about Slot. We're going to talk about his contract. And we're going to talk about the potential arrival of Xabi Alonso. But you have to admit that this conversation, and it might be resigned, mutual consent, whatever it is, maybe he just didn't feel the trust anymore from the hierarchy and the fans or the support from the changing room. He might have, sometimes it doesn't have to be the players, you know, telling you or, you know, not coming to training or showing you disrespect on the touchline. Sometimes a manager, and if he's a really honest guy like Alonso, which he comes across as he is, you know, sometimes you have to say, okay, look, I'm not getting the best out of this team, and I just have to, you know, leave for the betterment of the club. So whether it's him leaving or sacked or mutual consent, we'll probably never know. That's the official line. But you have to admit that this conversation is slightly different to what we're going to talk about and discuss and what it would have been about 6-7 weeks ago when Arnie Slot himself, Avi, was on the verge for me and many people to get sacked. He's probably one loss away, in my opinion. But he's got this run, 10 unbeaten run now. And you have to admit, it is a slightly different conversation, but it's still going to be talked about.
Yeah, Asmi, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Look, the Real Madrid players were never going to buy into Javi Alonso's thesis or philosophy as soon as he took over. That's the unfortunate truth. The natural progression for Xabi Alonso should have been via Leverkusen and then to Liverpool, where he would have been given time, would have been given the patience to lay out his blueprint to these players. And look, when you've got characters like Vinny, when you've got characters like Jude, the Kylian Mbappe's, um, you know, I don't want to call them bad apples, but they have reputation of being bad apples. So yeah, okay, bad apples like that. The club, they weren't really good. They're all about individuals. They're all about themselves. They're all about brand Killian, brand Vinny, brand Jude, brand Trent as well. So look, he was never gonna get what he envisions his football team to be with this Real Madrid team. And he should have laid it down. But if he had laid it down to the board, I don't think Florentino Perez would have given him that chance then. So he's taken
Mm.
that job because, look, he did play for Real Madrid. Real Madrid, that job is highly coveted. It is one of the most prestigious jobs in world football. I don't blame Xabi Alonso taking that chance, but it's a chance that slightly backfired and has a slight blemish on his bright career so far. The things he done at Leverkusen should not be forgotten about. It should still be highly spoken of to this day. The work that he did with Leverkusen in the span of 18 months was incredible, Asim. They were a final away. Gasperini, did a great number on him in that Europa League final tie. But had it gone any different, he would have been a quadruple winner in his first season, Jabi Alonso. We saw the work he done with the trio of Grimaldo, Florian Wirtz, and Frimpong. He got a tune out of Victor Boniface. He had an exciting Leverkusen team. He was a monopoly breaker. That Bayern Munich team that wins nine titles in a row, 10 titles in a row in Bundesliga. Leverkusen were that monopoly breaker, and he made history with that team. Comes to Real Madrid, and listen, he just didn't get going. He had a good start, granted. They were 5, 6 points clear of Barcelona, but you just felt they were one performance away of it all going horribly wrong. And it has yesterday's final, which they really had some clear-cut chances towards the end, especially
They
in the
did.
last sort
They
of
did.
10, 30 seconds of the game. Should have made it 3-3, but it wasn't to be. He, I think, should take a 6-month break. But honestly, Asim, I think it's
Mm.
inevitable that he is a Liverpool manager in waiting. And I think summer is when we will come calling. There's talk that he rejected us and whatnot. I think there was a mutual understanding of what Javi wanted last season. I think we
Mm.
respected that decision. But when he becomes available, unless Arne Slot wins the European Cup as him, I can see Javi Alonso becoming the next Liverpool manager next season.
So you're saying that Arne Slot needs to win the Champions League to keep his job?
I think we need to see a change in his football style. I
Okay.
think we need Arne Slot to really make a go of it in the Champions League. If he wins the Champions League, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think
of
we
course,
part ways. I
of
don't think we
course.
ever part ways. I think even a top four with the FA Cup trophy
Mm.
to his accolades this season, I still think it would be very hard for the management, the hierarchy, to part ways. But a top four finish with no trophy, I think Arne Slot will be kind of, be a mutual handshake to say, look, you've done great for 2 years, but these are the directions that we want to take our team in.
But is that the Liverpool way though?
Ask him what is the Liverpool ways these days with Michael Edwards and Hughes now. What is the Liverpool way? The Liverpool way certainly isn't buying tried and tested in the transfer market like we spent last season. We always buy projects, but we didn't. We did something out of the norm. Yes, the money was available and the shackles were finally off. But I don't know what the Liverpool way is anymore, Asim. But what I do know is a manager of Jabi Alonso's ilk, and I don't regard this as a huge blemish of what's going on at Madrid. You don't really let him wait and sit. That job, it kind of looks as though the dominoes are falling ever so slightly.
Mm.
You don't let a manager like Jabi Alonso slip out of your hands. That's all I'm saying.
Avi, we always talk about the player market is gonna go crazy. The players gonna come for interest when we talk about, Wharton and the likes of Anderson, and you could talk probably about 10, 15 players this summer. Everyone is looking for the same players, and it'll be one big, massive fight. But it's something similar for the manager right now. Chelsea, I've got Liam Rossinier, is an interim. What do you call it? Is an interim slot? I don't even know. I can't even remember. I don't.
No,
I
no, he's
don't pay
got 7
attention to.
years. He got 7 years.
No
He got
way.
7 years. Yeah,
7
he's got a
years.
7-year contract.
No
Liam
chance.
Rosinia. Yeah, Rosinia. Yeah. Asim Manna. Raminal. Asim, one of those Raminal signed the contract. Raminal.
Yeah, but 7 years.
He's been given a 7-year contract, Liam Rosinia.
But there'll be a sack clause in there after 12 months or
Yeah, of
something. I can
course.
guarantee you. I can
Of
guarantee
course.
you. 7 years. Toba, toba.
Asim,
Okay.
I
My point still
had a slight
stands.
vision.
Man United are looking for a manager, Avi. Maresca's been talking to Manchester City not once, but twice. Yeah. That was an exclusive from David Ornstein. So United and City are looking for a manager. Do you think Liverpool will have to act right now to get Alonso?
Asim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't think Alonso goes to Man United.
I think they make a move. I think they try to make a move for him.
He won't go. He ain't going to United. I think a smart manager out there, an aspiring manager, even like the
Yeah.
Hernandez, the Jabi Alonso's, the Nagelsmann,
Mm.
you don't touch Man United right
I
now.
agree. I
You don't.
agree.
It's a
I
poison chalice.
agree.
That is just like Real Madrid team. It's like the Real Madrid team. It's a poison chalice. You do not go there. They need gutting out. Man United, I said, mark my words, they need a full gutting out. And I thought Amorim was that guy. And I rate Ruben Amorim. But I only
Yeah, Avi, I can't
as
hear
well as
you.
Rubens.
You keep breaking out
Months.
now, Avi. You keep breaking out, Avi. Whilst he said, Mukajai says, I want a 70 at my job. Mateus got 7 years as well. That's absolutely mad. But obviously, we know the way that Chelsea work. There'll be a guaranteed some sort of mutual agreement in the contract. If we're not happy with you in 6 months or 12 months, there'll be a get out clause. Literally every 12 months. And
Asim, am I back?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Asim, I was talking to Gene on the phone a couple of hours ago, and I said,
Okay.
in a world, I can see Emery at Villa, who's Spanish. I can see Liverpool getting Jabi Alonso. I can see Arsenal with Arteta. I can see a Fabregas at Chelsea, and I can see a Xavi Hernandez at Man United. I know I've just ruled him out, but I can see in a world where you see 5 Spanish managers in the top 6. I think
Who's at
City will
City?
maybe get Maresca. That's fine. I think Maresca will take that job.
Yeah, it's a fair shout.
But I see that in a world, I see out of the top 6 teams, I see in a world where there's 5 Spanish managers. And that would be brilliant. I think that would be fucking awesome if it happened.
So you're telling me Alonso at Liverpool, Arteta at Arsenal,
Fabregas at Chelsea,
yeah,
Arteta at Arsenal,
yeah,
Xavi Hernandez at a United,
okay,
a Maresca or a Pep still at City, and Emery still at Villa.
yeah. It's not nothing outrageous compared to your standards.
It's not inconceivable. You can see it happening though. You can see a very it's very viable that happens.
Yeah, no, I can. But I think talking about Spanish managers in the chat, I've been going on about Enrique as well. I think if Maresca doesn't go, then I can see Enrique managing in the Premier League in the next 2 years, Avi.
I can also see Enrique taking a break from PSG. Asim. He's always been a family man, especially since the unfortunate death of his daughter. daughter's passing. PSG job, it has been at times. You know, the first 4 or 5 months in that tenure wasn't easy. He's made him into a brilliant world footballing team. I can see him taking a year sabbatical before he comes
Yeah.
into management again. And maybe then, when United have sorted themselves out, they could come knocking for him.
Mm. I mentioned David Ornstein. He's just come out. It's non-Liverpool related, Avi, but Conor Gallagher, it looks like he's going to be heading towards the Premier League again. And Tottenham are in talks over a 40 million euros move from Atletico Madrid. Conor Gallagher, Avi, he's that kind of player where every team needs him, Avi. But when you get, thing is, he's neither here or there. When you look for specialists, he's not a 10. I don't think he's number 10. Where he can receive behind, especially against low blocks. Yeah, but I think Szoboszlai is a lot better footballer than him. He's still there. You're gone. Whilst you try to get your reception back, I'll try to go through a few comments. Send in your questions, people. We're going to stay live for another 5-10 minutes if we can. And then we'll be back with the Barnsley reaction and then more on Alonso as well, because I'm sure Ben and Jean and Avi as well, we need to talk about exactly what's going on at Liverpool and how they will exactly be seeing the situation as well. Just a reminder, if you don't know the team has been announced. Ekitike is on the bench. Rio starts. Kekese starts. Gomez makes an appearance at centre back. And who else is there? McAllister. Gravenberch is on the bench. Jones, McAllister, and Szoboszlai are in the midfield. The top three: Gakpo, Rio, and who else is there? Chiesa, of course. So should be a good one tonight. Should be a good one. Watch along, Dave. No, we could not do a watch along today, unfortunately. But we're doing a like a Alonso special, if you like, / Barnsley reaction straight after the game. So make sure you tune in for that. Wicky's in the building. He says Conor Gallagher is a modern day 10. Don't think there's any space for him deeper due to lack of progression and pause. So that's where he best operates. Yeah. He can press. He's one of the best pressers out there. He'll give you an engine. But I think against the very best, against like a Atletico Madrid, when we watch Atletico Madrid in the big games, generally his not backs against the wall, but they do sacrifice possession. And I think in terms of winning the ball in the higher up the field and giving the intensity, he's all that. But if you come to Liverpool and you face a low block 9 out of 10 times, I just don't think he's good enough to receive the ball in those number 10 positions. Maybe you could argue Szoboszlai, and that's one of the reasons why Szoboszlai was, the reaction towards him last season was he doesn't provide enough output. And although obviously there's a lot of context to that, but in terms of, I think Szoboszlai does receive the ball better back to goal than Gallagher, but at the elite level, I don't think he does. And maybe that's one of the reasons why, or one of the main reasons why, we looked at Florian Wirtz to make sure we bring in an upgrade in creativity levels and natural number 10 levels in Florian Wirtz. But it never works like that sometimes, does it? A plug and play option, you go buy someone for 120 million pounds, but because of what Szoboszlai provided this Liverpool team in terms of losing the intensity through someone like Diaz, we've talked about it in length. We don't need to go over it again. But it's brought his own problems, even though we've upgraded in the number 10 position. So as we've seen, so let's see what happens. But I like Conor Gallagher. I think he's a good squad player as well. And like Vicky said, he's the modern day 10 because where the game is going in terms of increasing physicality, increase in terms of the man-to-man press. Conor Gallagher he is a good asset to have in the squad, but I don't think he's been getting a lot of game time as well over the last year to 18 months as well. At first, when he went there, he did start a lot of games, but it looks like he's been struggling. But I think we're going to leave it there. We've been live for half an hour or so. More Shorts is in the house. He says, love the content. Asim and Avi, may Allah give you all the success. Thank you so much for the kind words, Mo. And Ameen to all your dawahs as well. Okay, people, let's leave it there. We will be back around 10 o'clock, which is our usual show, reacting to all the game. And maybe we'll get a bit of an update on Xabi Alonso as well. Make sure you tune in for that. Make sure you smash a like. Please, please, please. I can't stress it enough. Smash a like on the way out. And we will catch you on the reaction show at around 10 o'clock. Take care, and we'll see you later on. Bye for now.